Leicester 2, Wolves 1. A really disappointing game for Wolves today. A game where we looked really good for parts, especially towards the start of the game, but for the majority, towards the end of the first half of the second half, we were really, really poor and almost went back to the old Wolves. But obviously a good win for Leicester, probably on the chances they created in and around throughout the 90 minutes. They probably just about edged it, to be honest. But it was just frustrating. Wolves going unchanged after the last game, which I completely agree with. Obviously, a lot of the talk building up to this game was whether captain Ruben Neves was going to be back in the lineup or not. And I fully support Lopetegui's decision to stick with that team. I thought, those players over the last week or last couple of weeks have put us in a really decent position for survival, so completely deserved to keep their place. And it showed. I thought the first 20 minutes, half an hour, we looked brilliant. You could argue some of the best football that we've seen since Lopetegui came into the club. I thought Leicester had one or two decent half chances before we even scored our opening goal. Jamie Vardy had a chance where he went through on goal and squared it to Tete, who probably should have done a little bit better. It was a great block. Jamie Vardy of maybe 2 or 3 years ago would probably be burying those sort of opportunities. So we did ride our luck a little bit throughout the game. But our goal came from hard work ourselves. Lamina dispossessing Tillemans, a really strong tackle from him, and it allows Cunha a little bit of space, edge of the area, picks his spot, and it's a really nice finish and a well-deserved lead at that point in the game. And Wolves just knocked it about. Some good urgency going forward. In the final third, we looked a much sharper, a much better team. The intricate passing, the 1-2s, everything just seemed to be really, really decent and creating half chances ourselves. But then, obviously, the penalty that Leicester got killed completely all of our momentum. And really, we just went downhill after that penalty. Vardy goes through on goal. Sarr sort of takes him wide. I don't know if Sarr slips, but he catches the back of Jamie Vardy's ankle, and it's a stonewall penalty for me. And Iheanacho takes the penalty and sends Jose Sarr the wrong way. But then Wolves were almost fighting for their lives to get to half time. Wolves just were desperate to keep it level going into half time. And second half, I think the half-time changes is what really changed the match. Leicester brought off Vardy, brought on Dewsbury Hall, allowed them a lot more control in the midfield, an extra player in there. So especially towards the opening stages of the second half, they looked a completely different side, holding on to the ball a little bit more, getting a little bit more momentum going forward. And Wolves didn't know how to combat that. Unfortunately for us, Lamina came off. I'm hoping it's not a serious injury. Ruben Neves came on, and we just looked like a different team. I don't think it's completely on Ruben Neves because there's so many other players in front of him that were playing so well in the first half, but we just seem to be a much slower and less urgent, a lot more negative, deeper. And obviously Lopetegui noticed that quite early on, but then brought on Hwang for Diego Costa, who really wasn't happy with that change. And we saw João Moutinho come on as well. And yeah, Wolves just really sloppy in the second half and just creating next to nothing. And you knew it was. I think we would have done well to hold on and draw that game. To be completely honest, Leicester created more and more opportunities. Jose Sarr to pull off one or two half decent stops. There was a chance for Soyuncu from a corner, and in the end, that's where they catch us on the sort of counter attack. And again, a ball across the face of goal, and they put it into the back of the net, which. Like I said, I think just based on the second half, Leicester probably just about edged it today. It's disappointing to see us play like that. I thought, like I said earlier, the first half we had moments where it was some of our best football that we've played in some time. But then for 3/4 of the game, it was really, really poor again. And we really need to sort of balance out, especially away from home. I think our home form's pretty decent. And that's why I'm hoping against Palace on Tuesday we can right these wrongs and sort of get back on track. But yeah, I think we've put ourselves in such a decent position over the last few weeks or so that we don't need to panic as of right now. It was a big win for Leicester. We know they've got quality footballers. It was going to be a difficult game with Dean Smith in charge of his first game at the King Power, but we could have so easily killed that game off and avoided silly errors like the penalty. I think if we went in at half time, 1-0 up, or possibly even grabbing another goal, it would have been a completely different match for Wolves. But it's frustrating. Diego Costa, like I said, came off, looked frustrated. We saw Lopetegui must throw everything at it. Neto coming on, Pedence coming on. Just no real structure going forward in the second half. It was really, really poor. Surprised we didn't see maybe Adama come on a little bit sooner. But yeah, we can try and dissect it as much as we can. But at the end of the day, Leicester edged it for me today, and Wolves second half really, really poor, which was frustrating and disappointing. We move on to Palace back at Molineux. I think much better form at home, and let's hope we can get back on track and get something out of that game. Guys, do let me know your thoughts if you managed to catch the game. Be sure to hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're on our road to 15k subscribers, not far away now. And enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you guys very, very soon.